Welcome to Experience Oldsmar, a podcast created by and for those who love this special place. I'm your host, Charley, broadcasting from the top of Tampa Bay in beautiful downtown Oldsmar. So to prepare for the upcoming hurricane season, we invited Oldsmar's Fire Chief, Jason Schwabe, to join us today to help prepare our audience for what is forecasted to be a busy year. So we hope he will also share some of his tropical experiences since he has been with the city since 2001. So welcome, Chief.
Thank you again.
No problem. So when does the hurricane season actually occur?
So, every year the hurricane season runs from June 1st through November 30th for the Atlantic Basin, which includes the Gulf of Mexico.
No, you wouldn't think it would go to November, but usually things heat up a little bit. And so speaking of that, what are the most active months in Florida?
So typically in Florida, we see mid-August to late October is the more active months. Mother Nature has a mind of her own, so you should always be prepared for the entire season.
Be prepared. Girl Scout.
Yeah.
So as an Oldsmar resident for many years, I can remember Hurricane Charley in 2004, which was forecasted to head right into the top of Tampa Bay and pretty much engulf Oldsmar.
Yeah.
And I never really truly realized the impact that storm could have had to our city. If it had hit Oldsmar, what would have happened to the community?
Yeah, there certainly could have been some, widespread flooding and damage across the city. Charley made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane, which is a very strong hurricane. Brings a lot of storm surge capability with it. Oldsmar is a low-lying city, so it could have caused some havoc there with the flooding. One thing I think Charley did highlight was the need to be prepared and not rely on that center of the track. Charley made kind of a quick hard right there at the end.
Oh, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
I was at my dad's house in Dunedin watching Steve Jervey, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh my God, it shifted."
Yeah.
And it just goosebumps. It just made a hard right into, it was Punta Gorda that it actually impacted. And the sheriff's office actually did a presentation. You could just see that the street signs were blown away. They had, and this was before almost like GIS was out. So people having a hard time to actually find where the heck are we? No homes, everything was gone.
Yeah, certainly. Presents a challenge for first responders and everybody else responding after that storm. So.
At least you got a little better equipment now,
Yeah.
So are there any other past tropical experiences since you've been with Oldsmar that may have had you a little concerned?
Yeah, I think, Irma in 2017 was certainly on track to enter Tampa Bay
again
directly. Yeah. Yep. And that was a Category 3 hurricane, which still has some pretty strong winds and brings a lot of storm surge with it. So, that's one that was certainly concerning.
Yeah, speaking of history, this is the 100th year of the 1921 hurricane that almost pretty much decimated Oldsmar in good portion. So I think it had a 14-foot storm surge. So if people can visualize that out in our viewing audience and listening audience, how high would that have been? Yeah,
so, like we said, not Florida, but Oldsmar is a low-lying, waterfront community. And so 14 feet, the fire station's actually 14 feet elevation. So everything else, kind of south of that is lower. So certainly down in this area, downtown, you're looking
south
at 8-9 feet of water.
Yeah. I've read history records that it was 14 feet at one point at the mass impact, and people we're in the 1918 bank building recording from this, and the water was up to the second floor, if not over it. So, it was just, if people out there do have stories, I'd love to hear about them. So, and so speaking of preparedness, so each year Pinellas County releases their annual hurricane guide, and I know they're preparing for the final version for the 2021 issue, which will be distributed by staff of fire rescue or fire department to various locations across the city. So where can our listeners actually pick up a copy of this guide?
Yeah, so we try to have them available in most city buildings. So City Hall, fire station, the library, Cypress Forest Rec Center. You can certainly pick one up in any of those locations.
Cool. And Gull Air, I think, gets some too.
Yeah, out in Gull Air. So we, try and they have a clubhouse there, so have it available so they can get one right there in their own neighborhood.
Oh, cool. So what type of information is contained inside?
Excuse me. There's all kinds of helpful
I bet there is.
Yeah. So it provides you with some information on how to stay informed with alert-pinellas, evacuation procedures, how to prepare a hurricane kit, shelter options and instructions, just really what to expect before, during, and after a storm. So it's a multitude of information. I got last year's guide here.
Look at that. You are prepared.
Yeah. So the county does a great job putting that together.
Yes, they do. And I think they put that on their website too. So
yes, they do.
So around this time of the year, the city obviously begins to receive calls from residents who don't know their evacuation and flood zones. So what is the difference between evacuation zones and flood zones?
Yeah, good question. So an evacuation zone is really based on those tropical events. So tropical storms and hurricane scenarios. Has more to do with ground elevation, proximity to the water. National Hurricane Center kind of determines those and concerned more about storm surge coming in and damage that can cause. So, and then the flood zone is, based on the probability of flooding from heavy rain or high tides coming in with heavy rain. So, there they look at the flood risk over a period of years for insurance and building purposes. And FEMA has a lot to do with setting those boundaries.
Lovely. I remember, what was it? Irma.
Yeah.
When the water was just completely sucked out of Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something just once in a lifetime thing actually to see. And I don't know if I ever want to see that again.
There was one, I think it might have been Charley, where we were out after the storm and saw a boat sitting on Oakwood.
Oh my gosh.
Sailboat. Yep.
So how can they find their specific zones?
So evacuation zones, you can find, really Pinellas County is a good resource for both, but pinellscounty.org/know-your-zone, all one word, no spaces. Flood zones as well, you can go to pinellscounty.org/flooding. The city website has some information as well, myoldsmar.com. Go to the governments tab and look for services, emergency management.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of information there.
And also the hurricane guide.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That contains them both.
Yeah.
Good to have. Even in, with all this talk about the hurricane season. So how can our listeners be alerted for emergency notifications or important announcements from the city?
Yeah, so alert-pinellas is a notification system that City of Pinellas County has in place. It's a free service for Oldsmar residents and businesses. And once you sign up, what will happen is you'll receive urgent messages on a variety of situations, not just hurricane, tropical events, but any other severe weather coming in. The city needs to send out a boil water notice, any road closures, really. Anything we need to get out quickly.
A good tool.
Yeah. And you can choose how you receive your alerts as well. So you can get those by telephone, email, text, or all of them. You can also enter up to 5 locations that are located in Pinellas County. So if you wanted to receive alerts about your home, business, maybe a loved one's nursing home, your kid's school, you can sign up for all those.
Yeah. And you don't sign up for once, and it's
so once you sign up once and designate those areas,
okay,
you're ready to go.
And like you said, it's free.
Yep,
free. It's for me. So this is a really good time also to talk about having a go bag and supply kits. Just to be prepared for the hurricane season. Sure. So what type of stuff should people have in their bags and kits?
Yeah, so the Division of Emergency Management, they have a list that they recommend to supply your disaster kit with, and things like battery operated radio, flashlights. You want some extra batteries?
You obviously, those items.
First aid kit. Other materials that you might need, and you want to plan for at least 7 days with whatever you're putting in that kit. You should also think about, water, clothing, medications, cash.
No, cash is king.
Things you might need when electricity's down. So
Yeah, you don't think about that.
Yeah. And the Hurricane Guide does have a pretty comprehensive list as well.
Aw. Does it include a manual can opener?
It does.
That's vital.
It does.
You can't be pounding that with a rock out there.
If you're hungry, you'll find a way.
No doubt. What type of emergency plans should people actually have?
Yeah, so you want to, make sure you have a plan for your family and for your work. And if you have any pets, you want to make sure you have a plan in place
Yeah, don't think about the
for
pets.
them as well. There's a website, ready.gov, that you can visit that has resources to get you started on your list and, things that you need to think of to create your plan.
Some good resources.
Yeah.
Good to know. Oh. It's the lightning round.
Yeah.
So, Chief, what are you currently reading?
So I just started actually here with the city employees. As you know, we have a Learning Leaders book club, looking at leadership books. And one that was mentioned the last time was Strength-Based Leadership.
Okay.
So that's actually Chief O'Neill left that on the shelf when he left. So I thought it'd be a good idea to read it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Did you do the test yet?
I have not.
Okay, that's the fun part. Yeah. So what is your favorite item in your emergency supply kit? Don't say pudding.
I'm gonna go with my my handy crank radio the city gave us. It's a radio, flashlight, and a phone charger.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I gotta find mine. I know where to put it. So, and finally, tornado or hurricane?
Oh, that's a tough one. Which one you would rather? Or? Yeah. I think tornadoes are so sudden. They're a little scarier. So they cause a lot of damage quickly, and you usually don't have a lot of time to prepare for them.
It's true. Remember that water spout in 2013? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I think, you can prepare for a hurricane.
You can. And I agree with that too.
Yeah.
So yes. So, well, my goodness. Thank you, Chief, for being our guest on our podcast. Special thanks to our awesome engineer, Mark McGinley. Be sure to follow and like the City of Oldsmar on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. To find our list of podcast segments, visit experienceoldsmar.com. I'm your host, Deb Vitrelli. Until next time, I invite you to check out all the great things you can do to truly experience Oldsmar.
This is my cue.